Yo, YouTube, back at it again. What better thing to do after a long, hard day on the job? Come home, get a couple of shots of espresso in you, and then sit down and do some good old-fashioned movie reviewage. Carrying on the Nightmare on Elm Street series that I promised I would eventually finish, tonight's movie review is going to be on Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master. I believe it came out around circa 87, 88, I think 1988. It was directed by a man named Renny Harlin. Renny Harlin, who went on to direct such action favorites as Die Hard 2 and Cliffhanger, one of my personal favorites of Stallone's. Basically turns in a very good standard direction style. It's very stylistic in this one. A lot more basis on just the coolness of the look of the film as opposed to 3 and some of the other sequels before it. It's got its own world, but then again it's steeped a little bit in the past, and it starts its own story at the same time. It almost has a small takeoff on the Psycho storyline, where you were going with one hero in the movie to a certain point, but then it switches it 180 on you, and then you have a new hero and a new set of kids altogether. Nightmare on Elm Street 4 delivers that by continuing on the survivors of Part 3, minus Patricia Arquette in the lead role of Kristen. They drop in another girl there to take her place, which she does a very good job. It's like it continues on their story, the three main survivors of Part 3, but at the same time, after they meet at their demise of good old burn-face Freddy Krueger, it's like you start over again into a new storyline with some new kids on the block. My only gripe about Part 4 is that it's just like many horror buffs have. Nightmare on Elm Street 3, as I think I've said in my prior review, that is the main turning point where Freddy Krueger becomes the night show host or the game show host attitude, and then everything is a joke, basically. Well, Part 3 was the beginnings of that. Part 4 really gets Freddy straight into that mode where just every time you see Freddy Krueger in a movie, it's terrible what he's doing and everything, but it's basically a joke. Every scene with Freddy Krueger is in a joking fashion, and it's just not what you're used to after seeing Part 1 and Part 2 and a little bit of 3. To its credit, Nightmare on Elm Street 4 does deliver some goods. I mean, I have to say, before they got really terrible sequels going on, Part 4 I can stand to watch, and yes, the one-liners and the jokes are kind of goofy, but at the same time they do deliver quite a few laughs. I mean, how often do you see a bunch of teenage kids' souls in the form of meatballs on a human meat pizza, basically, and at which time Freddy Krueger takes one of his claws and says he likes soul food and takes a big old bite out of the soul food there. But all in all, not the worst sequel. That's yet to come. But it's definitely showing its age by that point in the series. It delivers the goods. I'm amazed to see how much action is in this movie. One of the characters, the lead character's brother, is a self-taught kung fu master, and basically she takes on every subsequent power of the latest victim, which I think is one of the main pros of the movie. She does inherit their dream power, so to speak. And she takes on his fighting ability as well as Kristen's acrobatics, things of that nature. So there is a final showdown between the main character and Freddy that is probably noteworthy in most action crowds as well as horror fans. But anyway, draw your own conclusions. It's not the worst, not the best, but it's a continuation on of the series from the survivors of Part 3, but it also goes into a new direction on into Part 5 with some survivors from Part 4. So they kept it in the family, so to speak. Got a new director who was highly stylistic at the time. I'd probably give Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, an out-and-out overall rating of about 5.5 to a 6, mainly because it's a sequel and we've seen a lot of the same. It does have some different stuff, but it's Freddy in his joking best. It's not. I'm a firm believer in a vicious Freddy that takes no prisoners and wouldn't really say much to you. He would just use his claws and get the job done. That's just me talking here. You don't want to listen to me all the time. Go out and rent it at your local video store or pull it out of the collection. Give it another view. See if I'm right. See if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, leave the comments below. I'll try to respond to every comment. Or if you want to make requests, as always, I'm open for requests. Any movie you'd like to do within reason, leave your comment or video response below, and I will try to facilitate that need and do my own review on it. I mean, hey, I know you can't wait to hear me talk about it. Come on. Anyways, I'm going to get back to it. Maybe we'll knock out another one here in the series in a little while. Take care, folks. B. West Jr. signing off from Endurance.